Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. Today on The Young and the Restless, Holden crosses paths with an old acquaintance. Devin and Lily warn Nate, and Billy makes a mysterious phone call. All products and services featured are independently chosen by editors. However, soaps.com may receive a commission on orders placed through its retail links, and the retailer may receive certain auditable data for accounting purposes. At Nate's place, he tells Devin and Lily that he met Damian, and he knows the whole truth now. They remark on him sending someone to impersonate him and wonder what he might pull next. Nate gets why Damian was being cautious. He shares that Damian isn't as down and out as they thought. He's a successful businessman and probably faces scam attempts all the time. Lily and Devin aren't buying this as a reason for him not showing his face. They ask what he has against Amy anyway. Nate says he didn't get into that. He was too busy picking himself up off the floor after their reveals. Devin thinks he's making excuses for the guy. He's sure it was an emotional moment for him to see his brother, and he wanted to find common ground, but they're looking out for him. Nate isn't blind. The truth is, I'm having a hard time with the fact that Damian and I are even related at all. Nate doesn't know what he was expecting. A connection maybe, or something to latch on to his brothers. He was like a tightly wound-coiled spring and angry. He didn't see his dad in him at all. Lily points out he dropped a bomb on him. That's why Nate's trying his best to withhold judgment. But Amy's hurt and heartbroken. Devin asks what happens next. Nate will keep trying for as long as it takes to get through to Damian, or for him to go home. Devin still wouldn't trust the guy. Nate hears him. He's just trying to figure out what he'd do in Damian's position. Lily says the ball's in his court. It's all up to Damian now. On Crimson Light's patio, Holden asks Damian if he's okay. He says it was hard to learn his entire life until now was a lie. He should have just ignored Nate Hastings' pitch. I got too curious. I just had to know what the man was up to. Then I come to find out he's my brother and my mother's dying. Also, his dad wasn't his dad. How is he supposed to shake this off and move on? He should have just stayed and lay. Now, it's too late. Holden feels guilty for pushing him to see Amy. Damian tells him he was right to tell him his mother was sick. He hasn't even had a chance to process the reality of her diagnosis amid everything else that was dumped on him. Damian reflects that he and his mom used to be so close. But the secret she kept from him, she kept from his dad too. How? How could she have done that to us? Holden says people get caught up and make mistakes. Damian's almost glad his dad's not alive to see this. It would have gutted him. Damian says he would have been fine not knowing. Holden thinks she wanted him to know because she loves him. Maybe she didn't tell him back then because she knew how much Jackson meant to him. But now he's gone. And from the sound of it, her time is short too. She doesn't want to die with this lie on her conscience, and she doesn't want you to be left completely alone. Damian says he's alone and will still be alone after his mother is gone. Holden says, "You have a brother now." Damian snarks, whatever that means. He's got nothing right now except for a lot of questions. Holden thinks his mother may have answers. If she's as sick as they say she is, this might be his last chance. Damian muses, yeah. He remarks how big and painful this is. He has to take time to think things through. Holden reminds him they have enough problems in lay without adding this to their plate. They're both good at shutting out the past. Maybe they should move forward and forget. Damian says he's got a pretty big slate to try and wipe clean. Holden points out with all the fires they have to put out back home, they may not be able to afford to wait around and see what happens next. This has to be your call. Damian thinks he may be right. We forget this ever happened. Leave Genoa City and don't look back. In the Paris apartment, Billy paces with his phone and finally makes a call. He listens to Phyllis' voicemails asking him to call her back. Looking in the direction of the other room first, he decides to call the redhead. In the park in Genoa City, Phyllis picks up Billy's call and gasps. Finally, I was beginning to think you were going to ignore me forever. In the Paris apartment, Sally overhears Billy tell Phyllis she's pretty hard to ignore. Billy reminds Phyllis it's a different time zone and is late. She left him 15 messages. Phyllis has incredible news. Daniel has decided to join Abbott Communications. Billy's happy to hear this, but he specifically told her this could wait. He admits he took Daniel on mostly because of her. She says he'll be a real asset to the company. Billy's sure she's right. Well, what role will he fill? Phyllis says he's working hard on new ideas. They'll figure it out and he'll shine. Billy's happy the team has come together. Phyllis is really happy that he's not using this opportunity to go after Victor or Chancellor. We need to start with a clean slate. Billy carefully replies, I couldn't agree more. Phyllis wants to talk business, but Sally approaches Billy from behind. He tells her they can talk when he gets back and hangs up. Billy tells Sally he called Phyllis back to get it out of the way. Sally remarks that she can be relentless. What was so important? Billy says, nothing that matters to me in that moment. In the park, Phyllis talks to herself about Sally and Billy and hopes he won't mess up. They can't afford another failure. Nick appears and chirps, hey, bad news. Phyllis asks where his breakfast date is. Could she possibly make it home without him? Nick snarks about her ability to always get a dig in. Phyllis calls Sharon a delicate flower. Nick sits down and says she doesn't seem good. Phyllis is frustrated about something. But there is something that makes her happy. She finally convinced her son to work with her and Billy at his new company. Nick asks if she and Billy are teaming up again. She says they never stopped, it just looked like it because Heather was murdered and her son was framed by Sharon. Nick grunts, another dig. Nice. Phyllis is happy her son's life is finally going to get back on track. Nick asks what the new business is exactly. In Paris, Sally and Billy kiss. She asks him to turn his phone off for the rest of the night. He teases that she'll have to distract him. She bites her lip. I can definitely do that. Sally pulls Billy into the bedroom. At Crimson Lights, Phyllis and Nick continue talking about her and Billy working together again. He learns Abbott Chancellor is a media company. Phyllis says they have funding and are ready to launch. She asks him to keep it quiet. Nick assures her she can trust him. He asks what Daniel's role in this is, and she says he's a creative genius. He'll be an asset to the company. Nick hopes it works out for them. Phyllis smirks. How neutral of you. Nick insists he's being genuine, but her track record working with Billy isn't the best. He fired her when Jill asks. Phyllis wonders if he's trying to spoil this. Nick is only reminding her that Billy cares about Billy, not her. He always blows things up. Phyllis denies that's what happened at Abbott Chancellor. Lily was trying to undermine Billy and Jill decided to team with his dad to pull the rug out from under Billy. She's sure he heard a different version from his mom and dad, who shoved Lily out of the way. Nick didn't like that and told him so, but it was Jill's company. Phyllis complains she sold her son out and says she finds it admirable Billy's not going after them for revenge. Nick is skeptical of her claim that he's not doing that. I just think that if I was you, I would hold off on getting all those brand new business cards. On the coffee house patio, Damian decides he doesn't owe his mother a damn thing. Not after she kept these secrets all these years. Why should he stick around? Holden has his back, whatever he decides. Damian is grateful. You're the only real friend I ever had. At Nate's place, he hopes Damian loves his mother enough to forgive her. He knows she made a horrible mistake by hanging onto these secrets, but she's a good woman who deserves to leave the earth in peace. Devin asks how he'll feel about Damian if he doesn't give her the opportunity. Nate wishes he'd give Amy a damn break. She's dying. It pisses him off a bit, and he'll do whatever he can to change his half-brother's mind. He admits they'd gotten close, and Amy's brought out a softer side of Audra too. Audra's gentle and selfless with her. He doesn't know if Audra's had a good relationship with her own mother, but her connection with Amy is real. Devin and Lily believe him. Nate says no one is just one thing. The three of us should know that better than anyone. Devin asks if there's anything that can be done for Amy medically. Nate says it's worth trying and Damian agreed to a second opinion. Lily shrugs, maybe it's not as hopeless as you think. Nate's cousins let him know they care. He just hopes it's a happy outcome for everybody. Lily warns him again to watch out for Damian. She doesn't like how he hid behind that Holden guy. You don't know who or what you're dealing with. On the coffee house patio, Damian tells Holden he's going back to the hotel to pack. He'll grab some food first inside and meet him there. Holden is shrugging on his jacket when Audra enters the patio. He says, I was wondering when we finally have a moment alone. Audra tells him they have nothing to say to each other and warns him to keep his mouth shut about the past. I don't know you, and you don't know me. Got it? Holden says, that's just not true, Audra. We do know each other. Very well. He promises her their secrets are safe. For now, you look good. Audra tells him it was ballsy to impersonate Damian. He says that's what friends do for each other. I thought we were friends too. Audra says that was for a very short time. Holden reminds her that he helped her out of a jam with her boss. How is Tucker, by the way? Audra asks what he wants. Holden informs her she owes him. Big time. Audra acknowledges that she owes him, and thanks him for not saying anything to Nate. Holden shrugs. What would be the point? He marvels at the coincidence of finding her there, hooked up with the guy Damian sent him to check out, who, by the way, happens to be his half-brother. Audra says it was a surprise to her too. She doesn't know what will happen between her and Nate, but he treats her better than anyone she's ever known. She's done with Tucker for good, and is a different person now. I like my life here, and I would like that to continue. Holden tells her it's her lucky day. He doesn't want their past coming to light, and he and Damian are headed back to Los Angeles tonight. They can all pretend this ever happened. Inside Crimson Lights, Damian runs into a surprised Lily and apologizes, clearly struck by her beauty. She tells him to watch where he's going next time, and sits down. He smiles. At Crimson Lights, Phyllis tells Nick that she understands everyone wanting to think the worst of Billy because everyone also wants to think the worst from her. Nick apologizes. Phyllis says his first instinct was to go after Victor. She was going to help him but realized it wasn't worth it. She talked to Billy and told him not to go after Victor. No one who does ever wins. He agreed. Nick says, or he pretended to. Phyllis insists they're not going after his family. His parents will have no accountability as usual. Nick says it's nice, there's no revenge planned. He hopes it works out for her. But it's been his experience and hers, to never take anything Billy says at face value. You never really know what his agenda is. In Paris, Billy checks to see if Sally's sleeping and then slips out of the bedroom. He dons a shirt and calls someone. Hi, it's me. I wanted to give you a quick update. Funding has been secured, staffing is complete, Avid Communications is a go, and we should be able to launch very quickly. He tells the person on the other end, there is one more thing I need you to do. I want you to take a deep dive into Chancellor. I want to know every single thing that's happened there since Nikki took over. He tells the person to get back to him as soon as they can.